hyperautomation is what we're going to explore today. And it's really a combination of technologies that you can use at speed to automate your activities. Think about a lot is about the language that you're using around this terminology to help you be successful on your journey when you're working within your organization to deliver the pieces of hyperautomation that you can achieve and to understand the vision. Now, this is a big strategic view about the art of the possible. This is your ambition. This is the journey you're going on, your direction. But what I want to spend today talking about is the art of the practical. How are you actually going to make this work within your organization so that you can be successful within a time frame that suits your career, that actually will help move your organization forward in a way that you can be proud of and is achievable. Start on your hyperautomation journey in some of your companies. That will mean that going and helping sales is absolutely the best thing you can do, because they'll be desperate for some of these new channels, new ways to integrate and work with customer data to make themselves more appealing, to try and hinder some of that lack of growth. In other places, they'll tell you to get stuffed because they're absolutely drowning and they need to hit their numbers and they need to kind of figure out a way to do that in their existing infrastructure. And in other places, they just won't have so much to do. So again, you can take the time to go and help them streamline how they're interacting with your customers. So different companies, different attitudes, you're going to find different politics everywhere and a different approach to change management. So really, it's not just about how the technology works, it's everything about how it's going to work within your organization. And that's part of the philosophy of hyperautomation. But of course, these fresh challenges are set against the backdrop of your existing challenges. And many of you, you're sitting in organizations, you're very keen to use these technologies to try and ameliorate some of these problems of paper and moving things around. And yet you're faced with activities that are perhaps less than well documented, less than optimal. Let's take an example of this. This is an example of a process that is around a self-operating napkin. It was drawn by a very clever gentleman called Heath Robinson, somewhere around 1890, 95. And he was here documenting a process. And some of you will find that your processes aren't especially better documented than this. So as you can see, it's only really using letters. It's got a lot of dependencies. What happens if he lifts the spoon too quickly? What happens if the bird can't show up for work? Or it falls off its perch? Sorry, couldn't resist. If it dies, what happens if it's pecking at the bread differently? The bread isn't available. The bread's too hard, too stale. These are all the sorts of problems that you find within an organization, particularly when an activity, a process is end to end, order to cash, source to pay. It's got multiple dependencies, multiple departments, and you're trying to do all that in hyperautomation. Forget it. What you need to think about is how can we do pieces of this process and make improvements? And that will be a really good way to start on your automation journey and to have a plan.